All right. Can you all see? I hope you can all see. So again, welcome to the Meet and Ask session about the BA English Language and Culture program. As I said, there's sort of roughly two parts. In the first part, we're going to give you all the information about the program. So that's me and Dr. Nicholas Carr. And then after that, you'll hear from our students from the student perspective on what it's like to study both in our study program, but also at the University of Amsterdam. And you can already see a part of Amsterdam from one of our buildings from my office. And then after that, we're going to open the floor for some questions from you and be able to answer everything that you want to know about the program. So English at the UvA, important things that we're going to address. Why English at the UvA, why you should study here. We're going to talk about the program, the courses that you'll do, all the other opportunities that you have beyond the core program, things like studying abroad or doing an internship and so on and so forth. And then we're going to talk about what you can do after the BA. So why English at the UvA? One of the main the strongest points about our program is that we focus on Englishes from around the world. So we don't have one specific focus in terms of UK or US English, but we focus on English as a global language. The other part of it is the academic setting, which is the source of skills and activities that you'll be working on in the course of the study program. And then finally, the dynamic location, the fact that we are located in the center of Amsterdam and all the opportunities, unique opportunities that allows for. So, you know, what is global about the program? Not only the topics that we cover, but also the teaching staff. So these are the people that you'll be working with and studying with throughout the program. You know, we've got people from South Africa, Canada, the US, the UK, and all, you know, Australia and other parts of the world, the Netherlands. So it's truly a global group of people. And that is also reflected in their expertise, our expertise, and in the courses of the program. So we focus both on literature and linguistics in a global perspective. So English is a global language and the variation of English in the world, and in world literature in English from different parts of the world. So apart from all of that, apart from the global English focus of the program and the global staff, we also have an international classroom. So we've got a lot of international students from all over Europe and the world. So that will be the context in which you'll be studying as part of this program. In terms of the academic setting, it's very important that this program is not a general language or literature program. So it's focused entirely on English. So all the courses that you take, all the core courses that you take are on English specifically. We pay a lot of attention on collaboration. So there's a very strong focus on working with other people and strengthening your collaboration skills, but also on critical thinking. And that critical thinking relates both to linguistics, to the linguistics part of the program, and to the literature part of the program. So you learn a lot about how to work with different types of data, how to do different types of writing, how to write different types of texts, and so on and so forth. And then finally, The dynamic location, we are located, I don't know how familiar you are with the Amsterdam center map, which you can see here. So we are located somewhere over here, which is right next to the Dam Square, one of the central squares in Amsterdam, very close to the Royal Palace. And most of our, so the library somewhere here, and the other university buildings are there, so you'll be right in the center of Amsterdam, and this is what the building looks like. So I am currently somewhere here, so I'm looking outside, or you're looking outside from this building. Another thing that's very important, so apart from the rich historical and cultural heritage of Amsterdam, and there's also a very large expat community, so a large professional and social English speaking community. So English is, especially if we talk about the central part, the center of Amsterdam, English has become in the last few years the kind of the language of choice. So those of you who are coming from abroad and would like to improve your English, there's plenty of opportunity to speak it here as well. So those are some general, that's some general information about, you know, the UvA and our program. And now I'm going to turn to the program. So 3 important aspects of the program. You've got your core courses, the things that you have to do, regardless of, you know, what you want to do. So that's a necessity. Then you've got electives, and we've got 2 types of electives. I'm going to tell you about them. The first type, or the first group of electives, allows you to specialize in different topics in English, linguistics, and literature, and the other group of electives allows you to specialize in topics, or, you know, expand your knowledge on topics outside of the topic of the study program. So you can take electives from other programs of the humanities, the Faculty of Humanities and beyond. And then finally, there are a number of very interesting opportunities for you as students to expand your skills and knowledge, like studying abroad, or doing an internship, or doing a minor. So I'm going to talk about these 3 for the next few minutes. So the core program is a combination of literature and linguistics. And in the first year, you take half the courses that you take are in literature, half the courses are in linguistics. That's mandatory, and it's the same for everybody in the first year. In the second year, you can have a choice of 2 directions, or 2 programs. One program has a literature focus, and the other one is a combination of literature and linguistics. So those of you who are more interested in literature can go for the literature focus program. And, you know, if you're interested in becoming an English teacher later on, then the literature and linguistics program is a good choice. Another important thing about the way that the academic year is structured, so at the University of Amsterdam, we have something that's called 8-8-4 system. That means that there's the first semester, so starting sometime in September, early September, and until the end of January. And then from the beginning of February until the end of June, we've got the second semester. And within each semester, there are periods of 8 weeks, and then another 8 weeks, and then 4 weeks. And these are called blocks. So you've got semester 1 and block 1, and so on and so forth. So usually the way that courses are organized is you would have courses either in the first block, and in the second block, and then in the third block. And sometimes you have courses that last, so in the second and the third block together. So a bit more information about the actual courses. So in the first year, as I said, you take literature courses for example, genres, text and context, and literary theory. And you take linguistics courses like Stories of English or English and Englishes. And then you've got texts in focus in that January block, right? So I hope you're following. This is important because it tells you when the courses happen, right? So first 8 weeks, these two courses, second 8 weeks, these two courses, and then in the January block, you do one in a short period, relatively short period of time, but an intense course. So that happens in the first semester of year one. And in the second semester of year one, again, you see the literature courses. So early modern literature, the long 18th century, and then linguistics courses, or language-related courses, rhetoric and writing, and language in use. And then in the June block, you learn a bunch of things about how to do research in English linguistics. So that's the first year, which is the same for everybody. And what is important to remember is that you will have 6 contact hours per course per week. So you will be here at least 12 hours per week. So once you are finished with your first year, in the second year, you can choose between, so in the first semester, you've got literature 4, and then a literature course or a linguistics course. And from linguistics, you have language and society. And in the second semester, we've got again 2 literature courses and 1 linguistics course for those of you who will choose the linguistics and literature track. And as you can see, at this point in the program, you have time for electives. So I'm going to talk a bit about electives in a moment, but that's the structure of year 2. And then in year 3, this is the structure of the first semester. Maybe I'll just do this. The first semester of year 3 is the same for everybody. So this is the same for, regardless of which type of program you've chosen for the second year. All the students do philosophy of humanities and debates in English studies, and again, electives. So there's a lot of space here for electives. And then in the last semester of your program, you do the English research seminar, which prepares you for writing your thesis. And then at the end, in the last 2 blocks, you write your BA thesis. And again, you can do electives. Another important thing, so apart from, I mentioned before, you can choose 2 types of electives. One group of electives is directly related to English, linguistics or literature. So depending on what you want to learn more about. And then the other part of the group of electives that you can choose, which is what we call free electives, that can also be substituted by a study abroad period or an internship or a minor. So if you want to go abroad or if you want to do an internship, you can do that. Most of our students do that in their 3rd year, but they can also do it in the 2nd year. There are some regulations about that. So, as I said, different types of electives, literature electives or linguistics, or other humanities, or even beyond the humanities, the Faculty of Humanities. And in terms of opportunities beyond the study program, you can go abroad, you can choose to do an internship, and you can also choose to do a minor. So that very briefly is the structure of the program. And once you're done with the studies, of course, you may be wondering, what can I do after my BA? And there's 2 options. You can either start looking for a job, especially, if you've done an internship, maybe you think, oh, okay, I would like to go and, work, or you can continue studying. If you are looking for a job, what our alumni end up doing is, going for the more traditional choice of going into teaching or doing translation, editing, going into academia, doing research. But there's also a lot of our students who go into the creative industry, so working on drama, creative writing, technical writing, a lot of opportunities for content writing, publishing, tourism, non-profit organizations, or even government organizations, jobs related to communications or PR or media and journalism. So these are the opportunities. Of course, it's not restricted to that, but these are sort of the most common job opportunities or sort of professional directions for you if you decide to do this program, or even the other way around. If you're interested in doing one of these, our program will be a very, very good preparation for that. And if you decide to continue studying, you can do a range of master's programs. So our BA program prepares you for a master's in literary studies or a master's in linguistics. Both of those are research masters at the UvA. Then there's also the English literature and culture, language and society, language, literature and education, translation studies, education masters, American studies, and also any other options here. And with that, I will now give the floor to Babette and Casper so they can talk to you about life as a student.
So hi, I'm Babette. So life as a student, I think it is a full-time thing usually, unless of course you do the part-time track, but that sounds scary, but there's enough time for a social life as well. I think it's important to mention. So usually you have 4 classes in a week, so 12 hours. And then next to that, you have to do a lot of self-studying. Luckily, our locations have some really nice libraries. So those are always good places to go. Then, yeah, so it says here tutors every year gets a tutor. I think every different class might have a different tutor. Then, so there's a student association, it's called Etc. Both Casper and I are part of that, and it's basically a social addition to what you already do as a student. So Etc. organizes social events, but recently we've also been organizing guest lectures. So it's a nice addition to your student life where you can get to know your peers in a less formal setting, basically. And then the department also gives lectures, guest lectures usually. Yeah, Casper, do you want to add to that maybe?
Yeah, of course, if you can all hear me all right. I have a bit laggy internet at the UB where I'm now at, the University Library. No, I think it is a full-time commitment, but you do have some room to play with. And the nice thing, which Victoria already said, is that you can choose other free electives, a certain amount even. I'm, for instance, now taking a course about Brazil's and the democracy, citizenship, and culture. And it's really nice to go out of the English bubble, because just to try something else. And another thing is that what isn't often understood about a humanities degree is that I can switch really easily between studying English and studying something from Latin American studies, like the Brazil course, or doing something completely else in humanities, because you're taught a certain style of research, understanding critical ideas and asking critical questions. And just investigating almost that, which I think is really important and really helps me. So I always thought I wanted to be a teacher, so I did the minor for teaching, and in the end I found out, oh, this is not what I want to do now. So I do now have the space in the room and the time to do another minor or choose something else, or like I want to do a master after this in philosophy, and I can do that because I got the amount of ECs to do that. So there's a lot of room to still play and to try new things, and I would definitely encourage that. That's the nice thing about English, that you do get that room to do that.
And perhaps you could say something about what it's like to be a student in Amsterdam, because I can imagine that would be important to a lot of people who are coming from outside. What's the atmosphere like? What's student life like?
So I'm a little biased because I grew up here.
Okay.
So I don't really know the difference between studying here and living here, but I think first of all, Amsterdam's really pretty. So when you're walking around, it just looks really nice. And I think there's always something to do. It's a very lively city, which is really nice. Yeah. It's a very also a mixed culture here. There's people from all over the place, which is really nice. Yeah. Casper, you're not from here, moved here. Maybe you have something more interesting to say.
I'm from not far away from Amsterdam, an hour away train. So the first year I did, but just before Corona was, so I went by train and I got here, and it's really close to Central. So it makes it really nice to just get in and get out if you want to, train wise, and it's really easy to get here, which is nice if you live somewhere in the Netherlands. And I think, but it's a lively city. There's always something to do, and that's amazing. I really, really like it. I now live not far away, 25 minutes by bike from PCH, and it's very much doable.
Which is this building?
Yeah, which
is not going to be easy to understand for people who studied here. That's this building. It's very close to the central station, right?
Yes, it is a 7 or 8 minute walk if you walk fast, and 10 minutes if you take a little bit more time. And it's a nice walk because you walk through the city center, and you go through a street which isn't known to that many tourists. So it's really your street in a sense. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I think another thing about Amsterdam as well, if you're specifically really interested in student life, there is a lot of different student associations. So not study associations, but student associations. And usually in the beginning of the year, there'll be a whole thing where you can visit a bunch of them. So if you're interested in that at all, Amsterdam is a great place to explore that, basically.
Okay, so that's student association, not like you are Bachelor.
It's separate from the studies usually,
yeah. Different levels, so you can basically go and become a member of whatever.
So there's sports ones, there's specific ones, there's just fun ones, yeah.
Okay, before we stop the recording and open the session for questions, Nick, is there anything else that we'd like to add to this general introduction?
I'll ask Babette and Casper, is one of them organising our student association, etc., organises an annual trip abroad, which I think is currently happening. Is one of you organising the trip? I think they're going to Dublin this year. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm now doing it, organising it with 2 others, and we do one mid-year trip where this year we went to Ghent, and we do one big trip, which is mostly 5 or 6 days to Great Britain or Ireland. And now we're going to Dublin for 5 days in May. So in the May vacation, we'll head out there, and it's a good chance just to learn about the culture and like go with and meet new people and go with your friends. It's awesome. I really like it. So yeah, that's a part of it. That's a part of it too. And you don't have to go if you don't want to, but you can go. And that's a nice thing I think about a study association. You have a lot of you're not forced to go. You can come once a year if you want to. You can never come, or you can come to every event if you want to. Very free and open.
Right. Okay, thank you. In that case, I'm going to stop the recording.